Hello there guys, MousePower1010 here. I'm just doing sort of a little update video to show you guys what I have been doing all this time while I have been not making segments on my channel like I should be. Don't worry, I'll be doing it eventually. It's just, college is a thing right now. It's almost over, but don't worry, I'll get around to it. Anyway, I wanted to show off this digital counter that I made because I think it's pretty cool. I actually finished it quite a while ago. I just never showcased it, and I just want to kind of show it off now that I have a moment. As you'll notice, it's got 3 different digits, and each of these count to 9 for a total of 999. Now it functions properly, even though it's a binary counter, meaning it uses binary to count mechanically. It converts the binary into an actual digital decimal signal and displays it here so that it actually does display properly, as I can now demonstrate for you by flipping the power switch. It does a little bit slowly, doesn't always update immediately as it should, but it more or less gets the job done. Flips back to 0, 1, 2, and as you'll see there's a 1 here now. It does count all the way up to 999. May not necessarily be a practical application, but it's something. Oh, also you're going to notice some severe lag. This is because I do all of my construction in an online server, and that causes quite a bit of lag. Anyway, here's my program counter. This thing technically should count from 0 to 15. However, I have an AND circuit set up over here, which is what this tube coming off is, that basically increments the next set of program counters by 1 and resets these back to 0 every time. So even though it should count all the way up to 15 and then reset, it resets itself before that happens. It basically resets itself when it hits 9. That's the idea. See, you just saw it happen there. It reset itself. Then that increments the next one every 10 cycles, and then this one increments the hundreds counter every 10 cycles. Now each of the 3 different sets of program counters are set up, how's some bad lag there, set up to connect to a different input, some bad lag going on here, are set up to a different input in the decoders, and then there's 3 sets of decoders, 1 decoder for every set of program counters. Now technically, if I could have made the building a little bit further back, I could have had the program counters actually set up back here next to their respective encoders and decoders, which will convert the signal into decimal. But there's actually something just beyond this wall that I didn't want to tear down, so I just had to, expand a little bit, make it, I just had to wing it. That's all I could do. Has it already counted to 100? Wow. Thing counts fast. Anyway, for the encoders and decoders themselves, it's, standard decoding encoding process. We have 1 layer on here. The top, I believe, is the decoder from binary. Then the bottom is the encoder to decimal. Well, no, technically the top part here is both an encoder and a decoder, and then the bottom is merely converts that into a signal that the actual display interprets, as you can see. I'll give you an example, just to demonstrate that I know what I'm talking about. I believe this is 100. If this is on, then that means 1 is being added to the output. So that turns this line on, which disables the torches on this line. And in doing so, it turns off every other set of torches down here. What that does is it makes it so that basically only 0... Is this 0? Yeah, it makes it so that 0, 2, 4, 6, and so on are all off. 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on are off. My bad, sorry. It makes it so that every single one is off except for just 1. And then the torches that are on the line that dictates 1, correspond to the 2 parts of the... it just switched to 200. Corresponds to the 2 parts of the display that would be 1. So that's how the whole thing works. It looks complicated, probably feels complicated. It's really not when you actually know how the thing works. I built this completely on my own. I didn't look up a tutorial. I looked up tutorials on how to do certain parts of it, like the encoder and decoder segments. I borrowed designs. However, that's how everyone does it. I mean, if the Wikipedia for Minecraft had a page on this stuff, then I could have just borrowed the design from there, but no. I mean, you gotta learn this stuff at some point, right? There's no point in reinventing the wheel, so to speak. But as for making the program counters and connecting them to their respective encoder decoders, that was all me, and I feel proud for that. I saw someone else on YouTube who had made a 128 digit counter. Not 128 digit, a counter that went up to 128, and he just basically made a giant tower of nothing but the proper signals for the outputs. Basically, it was 128 segments tall, or twice that to allow for space. And each floor, so to speak, of the tower corresponded to one single output for all three of the digits, and I just thought that was a terrible way to do it. So I made a way that, well, was just more variable and more efficient, I feel. And it was a success. This thing is it's complete. Not only that, but it features the power on-off switch, like I showed you, and a reset button. So let's stop it. It's always wise to turn it off before you reset it, otherwise the circuits all get confused. So we stopped it at 300 and... oh, we stopped it at a solid 300. My frame rate just crapped out. Hold on a second.